Our angel of the week is a girl named Laura Graves. We will discover her story along with her Dr. E. Donald Thomas and the parents Bob and Sherry Graves. Laura's donor was a woman named Otto Deppner, and the foundation highlight of this week is Be the Match. Laura Graves was the first U.S. unrelated bone marrow transplant patient. Her family friend pointed out lumps behind Laura's ears. She was taken to an examination at Denver's Children's Hospital and diagnosed with leukemia for the first of what would be 3 times on August 15, 1976. We were told if we did nothing, she would die in 3 months, her mother said. For the next 2 years, Laura underwent conventional chemotherapy and radiation treatment. She started treatment as a 3rd grader and lost her hair 5 times. She wore bandanas and refused to completely remove them, even for doctors. There were definitely good and bad days, said her younger sister Christine. Mom and Dad tried to make things as normal as possible. This was just our norm. The Graves were hopeful when Laura's leukemia went into remission, but the cure wouldn't last long. The cancer returned in 1978. By this time, doctors offered few treatment options. So Laura had previously beaten leukemia, but the prognosis was grim when it relapsed in the fall of 1978. She was friendly and she was sweet, said Robert Graves, Laura's older brother, by 2 years. My daughter, Amber, is like Laura, empathetic, nice, and cares about other people. Laura remained upbeat through the 5 years she battled with cancer. Her good health began to turn in the middle of 1976 when she became ill frequently, suffered aches, and became too weak to lift her arms. An orthopedic specialist prescribed antibiotics. They told us nobody ever relapsed and lived, Sherry said. The Graves family was running out of options. Her siblings Rob, Sarah, and Christine were all tested. While Rob and Christine were perfect matches for each other, no one matched Laura. Bob and Sherry were tested after reading about potential parent donors in newspaper articles, but neither one of them was a match either. An identical match was found in May of 1979 with Otto Deppner, then a 26-year-old Fred Hutchinson Cancer Research Center clinical laboratory scientist. She had occasionally donated platelets and blood to patients. By the time of September 4, 1979 transplant procedure, the newlywed Otto Deppner was no longer working at the Fred Hutchinson Cancer Research Center and had relocated to San Diego with her husband John. But she was inspired to keep her commitment and flew back to donate. The Graves are heroes in my eyes, Otto Deppner said. They had a very difficult decision to make. They loved their daughter very much, and they didn't know what they would create for her, but they were doing everything they could to keep her alive. It's been worth the sacrifice, said Otto Deppner, who has stayed in touch with the Graves family. Now, Otto Deppner's procedure was not smooth like it is today, because it was the first of its kind. There has been so many advances in bone marrow transplant now because of the bravery of Laura, Otto Deppner, Laura's parents Bob and Sherry, and Dr. E. Donald Thomas's team. After 90 days in the bubble and 110 days in Seattle, Laura was discharged. She returned home to Fort Collins in December of 1979. It was very celebratory, Rob said. At the point that the transplant worked, everyone thought it was done and a success. When Laura returned home, everyone at the house wore face masks around her as a precaution. She rejoined her sixth grade class in March of 1980 and started seventh grade the following year at Lesser Junior High School. But the return to normal didn't last long. Laura's leukemia resurfaced after the January 1981 Disneyland trip and passing in on August 15, 1981, at home.
We knew in our hearts that we did everything.
Her mom says, "I think the transplant gave her another year and a half of life," Sherry said. "I want her story to give hope." And that is exactly what Laura Graves' story does. It has given so many people across the world hope for having a second chance at life. Laura Graves' last heard words: "Where nothing is working, let's try chicken soup." Her mom describes that she wanted to write a book with that being the title. And it is just cute because it's such an innocent child's way of thinking. And what person doesn't know that when you're sick, you get chicken soup and it's supposed to just make everything feel so much better? Robert Graves, also known as Bob, incorporated Be the Mat's precursor, the Laura Graves National Bone Marrow Foundation, in March of 1981, with Laura at the initial meeting. She got to see what was being started, all because of her bravery, and her parents' love for her. And I'm sure that it was something really special to see. The operation was renamed as the National Marrow Donor Program when it formally launched in 1987, with 2.8 million people on the registry. Today, in 2017, when this article was written, the program is called Be the Match and includes more than 19 million people from around the world. The organization has facilitated more than 86,000 transplants since its inception. About 70% of patients require a non-related donor for the procedure. An average of 41,000 potential donors join the registry every month. And in 2017, about 493,000 people joined in just the US alone. Here we have a picture from 1976 where it has Bob and Sherry Graves with their family, Laura, Sarah, Christine, and Rob. Be the Match now flies around the world to collect and facilitate bone marrow transplants. It all spurred out of a father's love for his daughter, said Joy King, foundation director of Be the Match. With no social media 30 years ago, it took a lot of hard work at the grassroots level to get it started. We do owe it to the Graves family for their circle of influence. Bob never really got to see the full extent of what he started. He died of a cardiac arrest in 1997 after a long politicking in Denver for mad cow disease research, but his contributions won't be forgotten. And pictures of he and Laura are on display at the Be the Match headquarters in Minnesota. He would be amazed of what Be the Match is today, but I don't think he would be surprised, his daughter Christine says. He was very much a visionary and understood the need. Bob and Sherry's decision to move forward with the bone marrow transplant from a non-related donor came with great risk, but it has gone on to change the world. I completely agree. Scientists contributed. Edward Don Thomas was born March 15th, 1920, and lived till October 20th, 2012. He was an American physician born in Mart, Texas, a rural town about 100 miles south of DFW. Dr. Thomas attended the University of Texas at Austin, where he studied chemistry and chemical engineering, graduating with a Bachelor of Arts in 1941 and a master's degree in 1943. Thomas entered Harvard Medical School in 1943, receiving a Doctor of Medicine in 1946. He was the Director of Emeritus of the Clinical Research Division at the Fred Hutchinson Cancer Research Center. Here he, in 1990, shared the Nobel Peace Prize in Physiology or Medicine with Joseph E. Murray for the development of cell and organ transplantation. Thomas and his wife and research partner, Dottie Thomas, developed bone marrow transplantation as a treatment for leukemia. And it says here that Dr. E. Donald Thomas received Nobel Prize in Physiology and Medicine in 1990 for the bone marrow transplantation. Dr. Thomas and his colleagues pioneered the successful use of bone marrow transplantation. This procedure replaces cancerous cells and stem cells damaged by chemotherapy and radiation with donated healthy cells that engraft within a patient's bone marrow. The discovery was a cure for leukemia and other blood cancers.
However, a few years later, Dr. Thomas was reporting increasing success in patients transplanted for leukemia. In 1979, his team performed a successful bone marrow transplant for a patient named Laura Graves, using marrow from an unrelated donor. The success of that transplant spurred the creation of a U.S. registry of bone marrow donors, called the National Marrow Donor Registry. Today, the registry is called Be the Match and includes more than 11 million volunteer donors. Although transplants using bone marrow provided by a related or an unrelated donor were showing promising results, not everyone had access to a compatible donor. In the early 1980s, autologous bone marrow transplants, transplants using marrow from the patient instead of a donor, were tested at several transplant centers for patients with leukemia, lymphoma, and multiple myeloma.
And here we have a picture of Dr. Thomas and his wife, Dorothy Dottie Thomas. Dr. Thomas and his wife, Dottie Thomas, both passed away when they were 92. That is like a crazy coincidence. Dr. Thomas passed in 2012, and his wife, Dottie, followed in 2015. They are known as the mother and father of bone marrow transplants. Our first 10,000 blood donors stepped forward. Many people wondered who would step forward to donate marrow. Within the first year, the National Bone Marrow Donor Registry, as we called it then, was established, and an astonishing 10,000 people answered the call. We conducted our first transplant as the National Marrow Donor Program in 1987 when Diane Walters of Wisconsin donated marrow to a 6-year-old Brooke Ward of North Carolina. It wasn't long before the program took off worldwide from a tiny office at the American Red Cross in St. Paul, Minnesota. Patients are more likely to match with someone of their same ethnicity, which is why it is crucial to grow and diversify the registry. Thousands of patients each year are still searching for their match. The odds of finding a match based on ethnic background is Black or African Americans at 29%, Asian or Pacific Islanders at 47%, Hispanic or Latino at 48%, Native Americans 60%, and white 79%. So please help in spreading the diversity in bone marrow donors so that these percentages can go up and save more lives.
There are 2 ways to help save a life with a blood stem cell donation. For 80% of matches made between a patient and their donor, the process is similar to donating blood or plasma. You'll get a few shots to boost the amount of blood stem cells in your body, then you'll come in for a blood draw. Blood is taken from your arm and goes into a device that separates the stem cells out for the patient. Your blood goes back into your other arm. This takes about 4 hours. Let's take a look at the other way. For 20% of matches, donors need to provide stem cells from bone marrow, which is taken from your hip. This is done with anesthesia, so you won't feel any pain during it, and you go home the same day. With both types of donations, Be the Match covers all costs: your travel, meals, payment for any work you miss. We're here to make it easier for you to help save a life. There are 2 ways to donate for one goal we all share. Your donation counts.
And you can follow Be the Match on all forms of social media. On Be the Match, they hosted on Friday, September 23rd, 2022, their Be the Match Gala, Creating Possibilities. On YouTube, you'll be able to watch the Be the Match Gala 2022 on YouTube at Be the Match. Every 3 minutes, someone in the United States is diagnosed with blood cancer. For many, their only hope for a cure is a bone marrow transplant. 480 people each day, 20 people each hour, and you could be the cure for someone to get their second chance at life. Every year, 20,000 patients are diagnosed with the life-threatening blood cancers or other diseases like sickle cell, for which a blood stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor may be their best or only hope of a cure. In 2021, Be the Match impacted 6,649 lives through cellular therapy. As well as in 2021, Be the Match provided $6.1 million in patient assistance to 2,600 families. $20 covers the cost to send a box of hope care package to a patient. $120 covers the cost to add a potential life-saving donor to the Be the Match registration. $300 provides tools and support for research scientists to pursue new discoveries to prevent and treat post-transplant complications. $500 secures 1 week of temporary housing during transplant recovery. $1,000 covers the total lost wages for a marrow donor, allowing them to volunteer their time to save a stranger's life. $2,000 helps families make ends meet while the caregiver provides full-time care. To make a donation, you can text GIVE to 61474. Again, you can text GIVE to 61474. You may also go online to beamatchfoundation.com and click donate. September only. In being I support a cure for blood cancer with Be the Match, your dollar plus matching dollar equals double the impact. And William G. Pomeroy Foundation is the one that is matching all September donations. The registry, plus discover other ways to support our life-saving mission at Support the Cause to Cure Blood Cancer at Be a Match. That is found at beamatch.org/support-the-cause. Link will be in the description box. Before you begin, please be aware of our age guidelines for the safety of our patients. We can only accept members between 18 and 40. Studies show that blood stem cells from younger donors provide better long-term survival rates for our patients. If you do not qualify to be a donor, you can still give a financial donation. You can give a one-time gift. All it takes is one simple action to give hope to a patient with blood cancer. There is an online form, a PDF form by mail, or you can call the telephone number at 1-800-507-5427. You can also give a monthly gift. Make an even bigger impact in the lives of patients all year with an easy, affordable monthly gift as a part of our monthly giving program. You'll receive the following benefits: monthly patient stories, a discount on your next purchase from the shop Be the Match, Be the Match Plus teddy bear, that is gifts of $25 a month or more. Additionally, thank you gift of your choice for gifts of $100 or more a month. Your tax-deductible gift means more patients will receive bone marrow transplants and get a second chance at life. September is also known as Sickle Cell Awareness Month, and here they have a sickle cell warrior featured. Remember, you can text GIVE, GIVE, at 61474. Links for bethematch.org and support the cause by joining the registry, fundraising, or making financial donations. Please think about doing one of these things so that we can help change the world even more and keeping Laura Graves' legacy going. Thank you all for watching. Please hit that like, press subscribe, and if you have any nominations for angels that are out there in the world or foundations that support a great cause, you can email me at mamatatuhowries@gmail.com, or you can message me on Twitter at mamatatuhowries.